Hi, I'm May, and recently I did the 6 fanarts challenge, but 6 times, which means I ended up drawing 36 characters across a bunch of different fandoms. Instead of just drawing random characters, I wanted each set to mean something, so for every fandom I picked a specific concept or theme and built all the artworks around that. In this video I'm gonna go through each fandom while explaining what I focused on for the fandom. Then I'm happy to say that Huion sent me the Kamvas Pro 16 V2, which I'll talk about in this video as well. Speaking of which, let's start with an unboxing of the tablet. The tablet comes with things like a manual, a glove and a pen holder with 10 replacement nibs, as well as the pen and an HDMI cable. I was surprised how light the tablet is, it's rather slim. With the tablet there's also a nice tablet stand included, which is perfect for me. I like to draw on a surface that's facing up when drawing digitally. After unpacking everything, it was time for setting up the tablet. This was easy. While the pressure sensitivity didn't work in Krita, the program I used to draw at the start, I eventually fixed this. The pressure sensitivity not working at first has also been the case when I unplugged and replugged other tablets in the past, so it may just be due to Krita. To fix this, I had to turn on and turn off Windows Ink in Krita and restart the program. If you have any similar issues like these, I advise you to either go in the tablet menu or in the drawing program menu and try activating or deactivating Windows Ink. One thing I am used to is being able to zoom in and out when clicking and holding a button on my drawing pen, but this was not something I was able to do with this pen. However, when experimenting with the shortcut menu, I saw some very nice features. I like how customizable it is, and other than the zooming, I was able to get the features I like. The pop-up palette in Krita is one of my favorite tools, and you activate it by right-clicking on the mouse. I like setting this to the pen button, for example. The tablet also has shortcut buttons on the side and a scroll bar. While I tried using this for a bit, as someone who is used to just having my left hand on my keyboard for keyboard shortcuts, I didn't end up using these buttons a lot. Although I imagine if you start drawing digitally with a tablet like this, it will be very easy to get used to using the buttons. You can assign different shortcuts to them, such as undo, transforming, color picking and so on, depending on how you like to work. The screen itself and drawing on it felt very good. The surface is amazing, probably the best one I have drawn on for a digital tablet so far. I really recommend it when it comes to this. That's it for some thoughts on the tablet. Let's move on to the fanarts now. We start with the first fandom, Kpop Demon Hunters. For this one, the concept I focused on was your inner demons coming to the surface. When seeing the movie, one may think that they're just fighting external enemies, but realistically, the biggest struggles are usually internal. And one thing I really wanted to highlight is this idea that you can't hide reality forever. At some point, whatever you're dealing with internally, your struggles, your doubts, your fears, they're going to come up. And the first step to actually overcoming them is not ignoring them, but acknowledging them, being honest about it, opening up, admitting that something is wrong. That's already progress. I connected all the characters here to the armor of God from Ephesians 6, which describes different pieces of armor that represent things like truth, faith, righteousness, or perseverance. And what I found interesting is that not everyone struggles in the same way. For different people, different pieces matter more. Like one person might really need truth, being honest with themselves. Someone else might need faith, trusting in something you have good reasons to believe in. Someone else might need perseverance, not giving up despite difficulties. When I drew the characters here, I tried to match each one with a specific part of that armor and reflect this visually. Another idea I included here was more of a bigger picture thing, the danger of a society that just mindlessly follows demons, not literally demons, but things like unhealthy trends, destructive habits or toxic mindsets. If nobody questions anything, that kind of stuff just spreads, and that's where individuality becomes important. By individuality I mean things like thinking for yourself or not just following what everyone else is doing. One thing I also connect with these themes would be the music from Starset, especially their most recent album Silos includes themes like these. Overall, the Kpop Demon Hunters fanarts here are about facing your inner struggles instead of hiding them, understanding that growth starts with honesty, and realizing that everyone fights different battles. The next fandom is Undertale, plus one character from Deltarune. The game is built around the idea that you always have a choice. In the game you can choose to fight everything or to go the pacifist route, which also connects to real life, because when you face problems there's often the obvious reaction and then the more thoughtful, maybe harder option. For example, reacting with anger versus trying to understand, pushing back versus showing patience. judging versus actually listening. A big theme here is not judging others based on appearance or labels, because in Undertale you're literally dealing with monsters, but most of them aren't evil, they just look different, act different, or have their own struggles. That translates to real life as well. Just because someone is different, it doesn't have to mean that they're a bad person. Something else I connected here is the idea of different gifts or abilities. This means everyone has different strengths, and those strengths are meant to be used in different ways. Instead of all of us reacting to situations the same way, people bring different approaches. For example, one person might lead another, might support another, might understand things deeply, while another person might encourage others. And all of those approaches are important. Then there's also the idea of determination, which is valuable in Undertale, but not just in a keep going way, more like finding your reason to keep going, because this reason can look different for everyone. The set of fanarts here would be about choosing how you respond to situations, showing compassion even when it's not expected, and understanding that different people contribute in different ways. Next is Radiant Tale. As someone who likes things like amusement parks, it was a lot of fun to work on these fanarts concept-wise. The whole setting and story here revolves around a circus. The main thing I focused on is that a circus only works because of the people in it. It's not just one person doing everything, it's performers, organizers, and people behind the scenes all working together. The concept here is everyone has their own abilities, and instead of comparing yourself to others, it's more about understanding what you bring to the table, because one person might be great at performing, another one at planning, and another one at supporting others. And all of that is needed. It connects to the Undertale theme. Another connection I drew would be different stones representing different roles and identities, which I really liked because it emphasizes unity through diversity. Everyone is different, but those differences are what make the whole thing work. And what I mean with the stones here are 12 gemstones found in Revelation 21. What's interesting about these stones in particular is that they are so-called anisotropic stones. The anisotropic stones mentioned in Revelation 21 are jasper, sapphire, chalcedony, emerald, sardonyx, sardius, chrysolite, beryl, topaz, chrysoprase, jacinth, and amethyst. These stones are known for their unique properties, and they may have been chosen for their ability to reflect a colorful array when viewed in crossed polarized light, which is similar to pure light. This property was discovered in the 19th century, and it is a defining feature of anisotropic stones. It's fascinating that this feature of colorful patterns being visible when pure light radiates through them is unique to these stones. That these 12 stones were selected when the Bible was written, long before this scientific discovery was made. When you shine light like this through other gemstones such as diamonds or pyrobes, what you get instead is a colorless pattern. The odds of selecting 12 anisotropic stones from the 28 primary gemstones are approximately 1 in 16,715. This would be assuming that all gemstones were equally likely to be included. However, since some gemstones are considered more precious than others, the odds may be different. Still, it's amazing to me how this discovery connects to the text. For the backgrounds of each character here, I drew in the colorful pattern that is reflected by each one of these anisotropic stones. From an art perspective, this was also interesting to draw more abstract patterns like these. The Radiant Tale fanarts here are about embracing your own strengths, not comparing yourself constantly, and realizing that everyone contributes in their own way. Next up is Olympia Soiree, which is probably one of the most layered concepts. In this world, everything is based on color, which determines your status, role, and position in society, and that's something you're born into, you don't choose it. The issue here is that your environment and background start defining your entire identity, which also happens in real life, where you're born, your family, and your situation, all of that influences you. Instead of using a system like that, world's color hierarchy, I based this set of fanarts on the fruits of the spirit, which include things such as love, patience, kindness, or self-control. The key idea is these are things anyone can choose to develop, no matter their background. The message here becomes about freedom from hierarchy. Your value is not defined by your position, and you're not limited by the system you were born into, because if you focus on how you act, how you treat others, and what kind of person you become, that matters more than any external label. Another idea I included here is that human-made systems can fail, like in Olympia Soiree, where trying to control everything leads to problems, which is important because not everything that exists in society is correct. Overall, the fanarts here would be about not letting your background define your entire identity, focusing on character instead of status, and finding freedom beyond external expectations. Now that we've gone through the fandoms for the 36 characters, it's time for some bonus fan arts. Here I drew 6 characters from Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone 0 and Wuthering Waves. Instead of focusing on one fandom or one main character, I would like to focus on a theme that is relevant across all these 3 games. In these games, you don't just follow one main character, you can choose who you play, you build your own team, you decide who you like, you decide who you invest in, and that made me think about something a bit more personal. What actually makes a character playable or appealing to you? Because if you think about it, there are so many options, and yet you tend to gravitate towards certain ones. To find out why we may choose characters, I broke it down into a few different aspects. First, we have design. Sometimes it's just they look cool. You may like the characters, color, palette, outfit, or their overall vibe, which is a valid, understandable point. Visual design is the first thing you notice. Secondly, we have personality, how a character acts. Maybe you like calm characters, chaotic ones, confident ones, or quieter, more reserved ones. Usually this says something about what you connect with. As a third aspect, I'd add the character's backstory. If a character has struggles, growth, and emotional depth, it makes them feel more real, which can make you feel more attached to them. Then we have the practical side, the gameplay. This can include aspects like their abilities, their role in a team, or their fighting style. Sometimes you choose a character just because they're fun to use, or because they are objectively strong or good in the game. As a final aspect, I'd also add connection, which can be quite important. That could be relating to the character, admiring them, or even just liking their dynamic with other characters. And this is where the main idea for these fandoms comes in. The characters you choose can act like a mirror, because they can reflect what you value, what you admire, or even what you feel like you're missing. For example, if you like strong, confident characters, maybe you admire that trait. If you like kind, supportive characters, maybe you value that in relationships. If you like complex or conflicted characters, then maybe you relate to that internally. This part of the fanart exploration here may be less about the characters themselves and more about what your choices say about you, which may be really interesting because we often see these characters as fictional, but the way we connect to them can be very real. That was my version of the 6 fanarts challenge, doing it 6 times 36 characters, 6 bonus ones, and a bunch of different concepts behind them. For me, this project wasn't just about drawing characters I like, it was more about connecting ideas, themes, and personal reflections to each fandom, trying to turn the whole thing into something a bit more meaningful. If you want, you can also try something similar. Pick a fandom, choose a concept, and build your designs around it. It may make the process a lot more interesting and enjoyable. Then I would also like to reflect on my experience with the Huion Kamvas Pro 16x2. The installment process, setting it up, and finally drawing, all of it went well. While setting up, it's normal for me that there may be some things to check or solve, but here this was surprisingly easy and I could draw almost right away. I like the menu where you can customize the shortcuts and how the pen feels when drawing. The tablet itself also is light, which means you could take it with you. I could imagine plugging it into a laptop on the go as well, while also using the tablet stand. Those are my thoughts on the Huion Kamvas Pro 16v2. Thanks to Huion for sending me the tablet, it was fun to try drawing on it. If you're looking for a drawing tablet like this, I recommend it. If you'd like to support me in some way, feel free to check out my Patreon, where you can find screen-recorded process videos of my art and more. Other than this, leaving a like on this video and subscribing would also mean a lot. Thank you for watching, have a nice day, bye.